So I just got off the phone with Brian Fanzo, and I want to share with you some of the things that I got from that phone call. First of all, you should follow Brian Fanzo across all of social media. He's a great guy. He's got tons of valuable information, and he gives it away for free. So totally worth following. The call I had with him today was about some of the new things that I'm working on, and I wanted to get his ideas and opinions about the direction that I'm going, and maybe see if he could provide me some guidance and ideas based on the things that he's done and he's had success with, as well as some of the things that haven't worked so well for him. So for those of you that don't know, I just recently started the Superhero Institute, which is basically just the catch-all organizational name for just me. It's a solo practice of speaking, training, consulting, and more that's really about understanding how to unlock the superheroes within your organization and how you as an individual can learn to develop new superpowers. It's not as geeky as it sounds because it's really rooted in the ideas of leadership, company culture, digital marketing and brand congruency, employee experience, customer experience, and all sorts of different areas of business and life. And the underlying through line is really the values of being a superhero, making the world a better place, and using your great power with great responsibility. So that's the underlying principles of what I'm working on. I've talked with a number of different people to work and develop this idea, and I'm starting to get to a point where I'm just about ready to launch it. And I wanted to get Brian's opinion on some things. So I bounced the ideas off him. I told him about what I was working on, and he said two distinct things that I thought were very, very important, and I want to share them with you today because they may be valuable for you. The first thing is that as you were trying to market yourself, as you're trying to put your work out into the world and ask people to work with you and promote it and generally just talk about it, you may get the feeling that you're bragging, or you may be concerned that people will perceive you as being braggadocious or cocky or any of the other attributes you probably already are familiar with that you're concerned about. And there's this concern that if you talk about the things that you're working on, that people will view you unfavorably. And Brian said two things about it that were really, really intelligent, and I really appreciated them. The first of which goes hand in hand with something that's famous from my favorite superhero comic book of all time, which is from Spider-Man. With great power, there must also come great responsibility. This idea of duty and service and sacrifice for others, that if you have the ability to impact change, that it is your responsibility to do it. Brian said something along the lines of, whenever I'm about to publish something and I have that concern go through my head, I think to myself, if what I'm about to put out there has the ability to help even one person, then it's my responsibility to do so. And I think that that's a really great way to think about it before you hit that publish button, or as Brian would say, push the damn button. Before you do that, you have these thoughts that go through your head, you have these concerns, you have these worries. But if you think about what you're doing it for, which is hopefully to make a difference in somebody else's life, to put something out there that's valuable, then it's your responsibility to do that. And you shouldn't be concerned with the haters that are going to be looking at that in some way and, forming their opinions about what your motives are. If you know that your motives and intentions are pure in trying to provide value for other people, then you shouldn't be concerned about it, and you should push that button. So that's the first thing you said. The second thing is that the concern about people thinking that you're overconfident or cocky or bragging. The thing he said that it was as we were wrapping up our call, and he said it kind of almost in passing, but he said, I think to myself about the people that would look at me and think that I'm bragging, that basically they just haven't done their due diligence and they don't know my whole story. And I think that that's a really great point. And there's two elements to that. The first is that if people were to know your whole story, no matter who you are, it hasn't been easy, most likely. It's very unlikely that you've had an easy rise to the top. And if you had, you're probably not somebody that's putting out a tremendous amount of value because you haven't overcome adversity or struggled. So, but if people knew what it took for you to get to where you are, to gather that information, the ups and downs in your career, the ups and downs in your personal life, they wouldn't think of it as bragging. They would understand that you're a human being that's out there trying to make a difference and do the right thing. And they probably wouldn't be judging you in that way. And then the second piece of that is really that this is a call for you to be vulnerable, because the truth of the matter is if all you project out there is the glitz and glamour and the highlights of your life, you're not really sharing the full story. And as a result, when you do put out that content and people inevitably come to the conclusion that you're being braggy or you're being cocky or self-promotional or whatever, they can't go back and look in and see the context of all of those things that show that it hasn't been all rosy for you. So when you share those elements of your life where things haven't worked out, you're giving people a little bit more context so that when they see you promoting yourself, they see it in that context of the full story and the full narrative arc that you have. The hero's journey is never going to be an easy one. central to anybody that's trying to do anything great in this world is that they've had to overcome adversity and overcome struggle. And that's what gives you the resilience and the character to go out there and actually do those amazing things. So I can't thank Brian enough for the time that he shared with me today. I strongly encourage that you go and follow him. And even beyond just Brian, let's put him to the side for a second, or anybody else that, you know, I've had the pleasure of speaking with. There's a bigger point here, which is that you have to understand who your mentors and who your network are. And you have to be willing to reach out to them and let them guide you and let them give you advice and be humble enough to take that and incorporate that into how you're moving through your career. So that's just my only thing for you today. I hope you're having a wonderful Monday and go forth and crush it. Go talk to somebody that is either your mentor or go out there and try and mentor somebody else today. And if you ever feel the concern before you push that button that you're being braggadocious, remember it's your responsibility. And at the end of the day, the people who are going to judge you, they haven't done their due diligence. See ya.